If you have a question, one, or a recommendation that you want to put to the panelists, I invite you to come to the microphone. Because so many of us are here, I'm going to ask you to make sure you give us your burning question or your burning recommendation, and try to keep it brief so we can hear from others. All right, we recognize Mr. Rowe. Oh, we're asking 0272 KJ Voxy. You're blocking someone who needs to leave outside. Please attend to your vehicle.
Thank you, Madam Chairperson. Before I make my point, let me acknowledge Comrade Bunting. He and KD Knight are the two best national security minister. I was in the force, so I know it. And I noticed that all the main spokespersons in the party are being targeted by the government. Dr. Campbell, Dr. Alfred Dawes, you name them. That's what they go about. Intimidating and threatening them with lawsuit and all kind of rubbish. Now, Mr. President, what Mr. Bunting said, the social intervention.
All right, let's give Mr. Rowe a chance.
The government remove the CSJP. I train with them. Remove the National Parenting Support Commission. I train with them. They remove the Peace Management Initiative. All of these things are a combination that will help to transform the poorer class of people in this country. Now, I'm a Maroon. And all the people inside here are Maroons. We're not wild and tame, as the neo-colonialists they had said. All black people are Maroons. And I'm inviting every black people inside here, tell your partner, tell your families that they are Maroon, and they must vote for President Golden's speech in Parliament, where he makes special mention about the Maroons and the Rasta. That is important. And Mr. President, if proper arrangement can be made, I am willing to travel all the areas to alert the people of who we are. Because in closing, one clause in the 13th clause treaty of the Maroons state that Captain Kojo and his men and adherents shall cut clear and keep open large and convenient road to St. James, to Westmoreland, to Hanover, to Trelawney, to St. Elizabeth, and if possible, to Clarendon. So the people are Maroons. Mr. Patterson and Miss Portia Simpson, the royal queen, they told me when I was colonel that they believe they have Maroon blood in them. And Mr. Patterson was my guest speaker in 1995. 1997, he came back to a compound with President Jerry Rawlings. And so we have a situation where the black people were conned and fooled by the system. By the system. So all these poor people, all these black people here, they are Maroons. And don't let them tell you nonsense about we wilder and tame. Rubbish. It's a political propaganda like what is happening now in the Jamaica cabinet. Propaganda. I have much more to say, but when this queen here start our meetings and the other one there, my vote is in her constituency, you know. And them have to win and they must win. That's it.
Thank you. That's the voice of the Maroons. Next question.
Good evening, panelists. Lance Cunningham is the name. I'm from the Torada Heights community, a resident of Torada Heights. And if you should traverse my community, you will be surprised at the deplorable conditions of the roads. Within this room, I see a number of people from the Coral Gardens and the Iron Shore community. Those community I have to pass through to go to my community. And they can also attest that the roads are very deplorable in those communities as well. And if you go to other communities, there are a set of co-workers here with me who lives in Portobello, Cornwall Courts, Westgate Hills, and by extension all other communities within St. James and the Montego Bay environs. And they can attest to you that these roads are in deplorable conditions. And so, for over 20 years and beyond, none of these roads has been addressed by, by governments. Therefore, I am asking the next PNP government what their plans are going to be to deal with the road network, not just in my community, but across the entire Jamaica, since we face with this problem.
Well, thank you. And the situation that you have described is true of many parts of Jamaica all over. And I've been traveling across the length and breadth of Jamaica and see and experience firsthand, and my front end even more in my vehicle, the effects of the terrible road conditions of which you speak. We have, as a country, over the last 30 years maybe, have focused a lot of resources and attention on building major highways to connect major towns. And those investments have been important. We have the North Coast Highway, we have the Southern Coastal Highway now, which is incomplete. We have the toll roads, the major toll roads, Highway 2000 and the North-South Link. But what we have not done is put any kind of program in place, certainly in the last 10 years, to deal with the roads that the people of Jamaica have to drive on every day. And I'm talking about scheme roads, community roads, and generally roads that are not off the beaten, that are not the major highways along the coast in particular. And we had the Road Maintenance Fund, which was established by the PNP to try and address this problem by ensuring that there were resources which funded out of traffic tickets and licensing of motor vehicles to support the maintenance of the road network. That has been put to an end. The JLP government brought it to a close, and they didn't put anything in its place. And so the road network has been steadily deteriorating, and it's probably at the worst that it has ever been. With the election coming, they have tried to reach and they've tried to spark, but neither of them are sufficient programs to address the accumulated scale of the problem of bad roads in the country. We are committed to an ongoing allocation of resources for preventive maintenance and rehabilitation of roads, so that we ensure that the network is not neglected. It will take some time to restore it to the condition that the people deserve, but by focusing on road maintenance on an ongoing basis in a very serious way, we intend to address the problem. We will also be working with the places of learning, UTech and other facilities, to bring in the young engineers and have them help to ensure that the projects of road maintenance are properly designed, properly executed as well. And we see the need to empower our local government authorities so that they can look after the roads that they have responsibility for. So it is a big problem that you've described, and I'm not saying that there's any easy fix to fix it overnight, but it requires a proper policy of prioritizing the roads on which people drive every day to get home and to get to work or to get wherever they need to go, and ensuring that those resources are put in place so that in the medium term we will see a significant improvement in the quality of our roads, and also eliminating some of the corruption from the way in which road projects have been executed, where we are seeing materials are not being used as they should. They're skimping around so that, and roads have to be redone shortly after they have been fixed and so on. There's a lot of scamming in that system. We need to cut it out. We need to take the medium to long-term view and fix things properly and ensure that quality assurance is part of the process of managing the maintenance of the network. That's it.
Next question.
Good night, comrades. I am Pingskew Green. I am from the parish of St. James. This government has put out the narrative that crime is going down, and at the same time, our people are more scared of our security forces more than ever in the history of this Jamaica. I would like to know, what will the PNP do in regards to changing this narrative of having our young people especially and the population of this country being afraid of our security forces?
Thank you. Do I just answer from here? Our position is that the police, or let me put it this way, long-term success in policing requires the trust and confidence and support of the citizenry. We are for police accountability, which is why we piloted the body-worn cameras 10 years ago, and we are really disappointed that 10 years later, after the first pilot of body-worn cameras done by our administration, we have still not seen that widely adopted. And body-worn cameras, yes, it improves police accountability, but it also protects professional police persons because they will have the evidence to show that they acted in accordance with the law. We're concerned about the level of police fatal shootings, but we are not in a position to make a determination. We have to rely on the Independent Commission of Investigations to tell us what are in accordance with the law and what's not in accordance. But it is an area of concern, and I believe that with improved operational planning, body-worn cameras, we can ensure that we get better accountability. Because one thing we don't want to move from one extreme to the other. We do not want to create a situation where there is impunity on the part of police. We've seen what happens when that is. All persons must operate in accordance with the law.
Thank you, Senator Bunting. And the next person at the mic is Councillor Kenroy Gordon. And I want to just recognize the other councillors present here tonight, Councillor Martin Kelly, Councillor Swaby, and Councillor Michael Allen. Go ahead, Councillor Gordon. And Councillor Kerry Thomas.
Good evening, comrades, party leader, and everybody. With respect to the labor force, some time ago, our government introduced a flexi week where you can arrange with your employer the hours in which you work. I don't think it is being utilized the way it should, because up to date, I think only the hotels actually work around the clock. Most businesses still work the regular 8 to 5, including government businesses. Can't we break the thing and do it how it's supposed to be? Can't we have government offices, government agencies working extended hours? As it is now, tax office, you have to take lunch hour to go tax office because you're at work from 8 o'clock and you only get an hour break and you take the hour to go tax office and then they bungle up and you can't get back to work. Can't the tax office work, NHT, NWC, can't they Flexi Week thing. Another thing that it does, it reduces the drag on the transportation, longer hours in order to facilitate the whole Flexi Week thing. Another thing that it does, it reduces work longer hours in order to facilitate the whole Flexi Week thing. Another thing that it does, it reduces the drag on the transportation sector. 6 o'clock every morning, everybody come out. And between 6 o'clock and 8 o'clock, you have bottleneck everywhere. And then between 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock in the evenings, you have bottleneck everywhere. Whereas if the hours were varied, you would have had different times people coming out.
Thank you. Well made.
Thank you for the question. What I can say, in the first 100 days in office, the People's National Party will review the current work hours and of course the flexi work hours. We are aware that in some sectors it is used on the weekend to bypass the fact that they don't want to pay staff members for their time on the weekend. So we are going to be reviewing those together, and of course we will have conversations with the different sectors, the BPOs, the hotel, and of course with the government and the tax administration to see how best we could facilitate the regular citizen on the weekend and ensure that they can do their business lawfully and in a timely fashion.
There is a Land Cruiser outside, 0952HW. Please move your vehicle. Go ahead with your question.
Good evening, comrades. All right, to be honest, it is my privilege to stand here tonight to be in the presence of these lovely individuals set to lead our country. My name is Brian Campbell, and I live in the constituency of Hanover Western. However, I was born in this constituency, and I also work and do business, so I have a vested interest in this constituency. I am also privileged to have grown in a house where both parents were of either persuasion. Obviously, one for the PNP, other for the JLP. So standing before you tonight is not a diehard, rather somebody who have subscribed to this party, the ideals of this party, starting from a particular time where I saw a then finance minister debate on certain matters, who is now the party leader, Mark Golding. And also I had the privilege when I was in college, Sir Bunting will not remember, obviously, to have had breakfast with him and, Michael Phillips and some other persons at the time. There was a forum. So what I'm speaking on today is not really a question, rather a recommendation, and I hope to set some context. And context, I'm just going to give the problem as I see it and how we feel it, and the recommendation, hopefully I can get some further guidance on that. The problem that we all feel, know, and see, we are talking about the economy. We're talking about the reality that prices are high. High-income jobs are scarce. Young people like myself, we are discouraged, and the hope of earning is quickly slipping away. And the current administration would like to sell us the idea that the economy is doing great. But I personally feel disrespected when this is being said to me, when what we all feel is a different reality. And in all humility, I would love to say this because I have been following the party's progress. We cannot face the government based on their integrity or lack thereof. Because I can tell you there are persons who will be willing to vote for someone who is corrupt, right, allegedly, but they believe they are still the best person for the job. I believe the best way to tackle this coming important election is in their golden goose, what they're selling to us, that the economy is doing well. It is not doing well. I am a teacher of mathematics, and I'm going to address one of the indicators of economic success, unemployment rate. Currently, it is said that the employment rate is at 97%, which should be something that is good. But I can tell you, brothers and sisters, this number should mean something. I'll give an analogy, I won't be long. I'm speaking to every parent here, I'm a teacher. If your child comes home with a report that says they got 97% in English, but they can't go to Sunday school and even read the Bible, don't you think something is wrong? Or if your son come home to you and say they got 97% in mathematics, but you fret for them when them take taxi because taxi man rob them blind, they don't know if make the change, don't you think something is wrong? That 97% should mean something. And if you are going to tell me, as a young person in this country, a patriot of this country, that we have 97% of the workforce contributing to taxes, and these are the roads we're driving on, these are the hospitals that we are accessing, these are the infrastructure, that what is your 97% saying? So, this is my recommendation. The economy. The aim for Vision 2030, Jamaica should be the place where Jamaicans can live, raise families, and do business. Right? And I learned that one economic approach that Jamaicans took, well, many Caribbean islands took, is industrialization by invitation. And industrialization by invitation is simply to make Jamaica accommodating to foreign investors. That is, we will give them tax breaks, we will create spaces for them to do businesses like the free zone where, it will not be as expensive for them to set up their businesses. At that time in the 1970s, it made sense, because the Jamaican people at that time weren't as skilled and did not have enough access to the capital that was needed in order to be the drivers of this industrialization. But my people, President, fellow MPs, that reality is no longer the case. Jamaicans have come a very far way. We now have Jamaicans who have the tact and the know-how in order to manage businesses that we are able to take on the global stage and serve our own people, and also address the import and export deficit. So this is the recommendation. Some of the benefits that overseas investors would have gotten, why not consider giving it to our local investors? Why not consider then some tax breaks potentially for our local investors, but also bringing in heavy machinery in order to upscale and upskill our own industries in Jamaica completely duty-free, so that we would be able to actually compete locally and improve skills right across the country. So my recommendation, as I said, I'm sorry for the time that I have been taking, but my recommendation is show Jamaicans that the economy that you will inherit is going to be the best economy for Jamaicans to do business and raise families.
Teach. And can you imagine, the government don't want to give them no big increase in them wage, but give themselves up to 300%. Next question.
Good night, everyone. Good night, everyone, and a special good night to the panelists / candidates. My question is really directed to Mr. Alan Bernard. I am from the community of Norwood, and is anybody in here from Norwood, by the way? All right, so if you know Norwood, you know that Norwood is plagued with the problem of water. We have very irregular water supply, right? And the community of Norwood falls within the constituency of Dr. Horace Chang. Chang has been at the helm from almost quarter century now, from 2002. He was once the Minister of Water and Housing in the Bruce Golden-led cabinet. But basically, to make a long story short, my question is, Mr. Bernard, what are your plans to address the problem of water within the community of Norwood and other communities within Northwest St. James?
Thank you very much. Let me speak to the community of Norwood. And we have a spokesperson, Water, and I think I will pass it on so he can speak to the broader issue of the country. But the party leaders here and others are here that can assist. As it relates to Norwood, we have been having conversations about the water. And there are three things.
Put the mic to your mouth.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that mic wasn't working. Right, so there are three things that we have been having discussion on. But let me put something in context first and foremost. When I get calls from the community about water, they'll often ask for a truck of water. And then I'll have a conversation with them about how far a truck of water can go. Usually, a truck of water causes more problems than anything else in terms of how it is distributed. So we have a conversation about how do we provide advocacy around the water issues in particular areas of Norwood. And so, as you rightly said, we have a member of parliament now for almost quarter of a century. A member of parliament that was once, that had portfolio responsibility for water. And nothing has been done to address the issue. If it's an engineering issue, this is 2025. It's not difficult to find an engineering solution. If it's a resource issue, it's not difficult. If I was the member of parliament for Northwest, anybody who is Minister of Water in my administration would tire to see my face. Every single day, I would be at that minister's door. Almost 25 years, nothing. If it's a resource constraint, if it's an engineering constraint, we can fix it. I have spoken to persons from the Water Commission. Again, it's not easy to speak to persons from any ministries, agencies, or departments when you're not an elected representative. Notwithstanding, I've gotten word from them. They themselves have said to me that they can take some responsibility or shoulder some of the responsibility. And in the event that this culpability is theirs, they can provide temporary relief. However, it is those elected representatives they ask to engage them to bring this temporary relief. They are not doing so. They are not doing so. And so in our conversations with the community of Norwood, we are looking to bring greater advocacy around how do we force the hands of these current elected representatives to act. To bring along next People's National Party government. As our future Prime Minister said, we will be revisiting a program that will address the needs of many of these Operation Pride housing schemes that were incomplete. One of such is in the Norwood community.
Thank you. Next question.
Good night, comrades.
Good night.
I don't like that. Good night, comrades.
Good night.
Let me pause a little bit to acknowledge our incoming Prime Minister and of course members of his incoming cabinet. All right, so I really came here tonight to ask two questions. but the councillor prior.
All right, quiet in the room, quiet in the room. Adjust the mic towards your mouth.
I came here tonight to ask 2 questions, but the councillor prior, I think, delve a little bit into one of them.
Okay, so ask the other. Thank you.
All right, so what I really want to know, the sports industry globally is a $1.4 trillion industry. Now, Jamaica would have produced some of the finest and some of the best athletes, and we still have a lot of potential athletes coming up. I want to know what is the next PNP or PNP's administration is going to do to tap into that $1.4 trillion industry.
Mr. Hines?
Thank you. And of course, you are speaking about an item that is very near and dear to my heart. Well, the next PNP government will certainly be looking at sports in a wholesome fashion, from the grassroots straight to the elite. We'll be looking at the sporting infrastructure or assets. So I would have been in Montego Bay to visit Jared Park that needs resurfacing. I went to the Catherine Hall that the track needs resurfacing, that they can't even have Western champs in the western side of the island. They have to go to GC Foster. That's a travesty, and that's a shame on the government as it is now. We have the Trelawney Multipurpose Stadium, which we envision to do a little bit more with in terms of a museum and all those things, since we are on the Western Belt and the tourism is there. And certainly be looking to do training with the University of Technology, the University of the West Indies, GC Foster College, in trying to make sure that we have the academia aligned with us so that we can get the scientific research done to enable our athletes. Sports is a multifaceted industry. So while we know about the athletes on the court and on the track and on the field, we know about the coaches, the physiotherapists, the analysts, the data analysts, and so the spill-offs are there. We also will engage ourselves in sector linkages. So the peace initiative that Comrade Bunting would have spoken about earlier, and Comrade Bernard, we will be certainly doing partnerships with the Ministry of National Security to ensure that we can tap into that, get our youths to be using their energies in a right and positive direction. We'll be speaking to Dr. Dawes about the health, community health and safety, of using sports to make sure that we can do away with lifestyle diseases and to get students and young people in the communities active. We'll be speaking with the Ministry of Industry and Commerce to engage ourselves with private investors so that this government would have caused the Jamaica Talawas to be no more. There's no Jamaica Talawas with cricket because the government did not invest in it. And I'm sure Comrade Mark Bolin and us will be looking to speak to other private cricket investors to bring back a franchise in our country, because we are renowned for cricketers. We had Chris Gale, we now have Andre Russell and Ravman Powell, Stephanie Taylor. There's a lot more to speak of. So we'll be doing sector linkages and we'll be doing sports in a wholesome fashion, and hopefully one day sports can be a standalone ministry so that we can have a permanent secretary and a budget to move our thing forward. So it will be properly ventilated, and don't worry, sports will get its rightful place in our society. Thank you.
You see how refreshing it is to have a future minister of sports who don't only turn up for the photo ops, but he knows his industry. Next question.
Hello, good night. So my name is Colleen. I actually have a couple questions and recommendations. Hello, good night. Hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. My name is Colleen, and I actually have questions and recommendations for everybody on the panel.
Give us the top one.
The top one?
Yes.
All right. So my first question goes for the future Prime Minister, the incoming Prime Minister. So you had spoken about Cornwall Regional Hospital and it being an A-type hospital. So for me having certain medical issues, I wasn't necessarily able to access certain treatment outside of Cornwall Regional Hospital, meaning that I have to go to that hospital to get what I needed to get done, right? But in an essence, when I go there, or the experience that I have, it's like the doctor that's there, I go have to wait 3 hours, then I wait a 3 hour, then he has to go back on the ward, then I have to wait another set of time again for him to come back to me to actually assist me, because there's not enough persons there working to assist. I also see that Christopher Tufton, He he's saying women are not having enough babies, but what infrastructure is going to be put in place to say yes, women, it's easier for women to have children, the experience will be easier for women, and so instead of just having babies, cause he's not going to help women to take care of all of these babies that they're supposed to have. So that's the first question, yeah. That's the, yeah.
Okay. Comrade Leader.
Well, we know that the corner regional situation is a real debacle. An atrocity, I think, was the word used. And the level of service there currently is unsatisfactory and inadequate because the facility in which they're operating is itself, you know, not what it should be, because the hospital is under major renovation and has been for many years. So until that is resolved, the people of this part of Jamaica are going to continue to suffer from having a public hospital that is operating very suboptimally. And we need to get that project under control and get it finished so that the hospital can be opened and provide the services that the people need. I agree with you that to be encouraging people to have more children when the health system in support of mothers, prenatal and antenatal and postnatal care and support is inadequate, is not, there's really no basis for asking people to put themselves and their future infant at risk and in that kind of situation. And in fact, Mr. Bunting and I were having a discussion about that just before this, where he was saying that when we see the reduced number of students that are available to take up spaces in schools, and we ask, why is this happening? You know, women who have had very negative experiences in terms of childbearing and their interface with the health system are saying, well, why should I expose myself to those risks again? And that makes that's logical. So until the services, the social investments and infrastructure investments are made in ways that deliver full bang for the buck instead of ripping off parts of public resources to Fen and Company benefit and so on, but all of the resources that are available are spent on what they're intended to be spent on and are spent wisely and with proper policy frameworks to support it. We're not going to see an improvement in the kind of care and attention that the average Jamaican, the everyday Jamaican who can't afford a bag of money to go private is going to have to put up with in the public health system.
All right, thank you for your question. I'm going to invite you to come to the side. I'll have you pose your question after to the relevant person. Please step up to the mic with your question. Rastaman.
Night. Madam Bvrclips. I can see that you is a Portia Simpson order. Yeah. Anyway, big up to all of the comrades them, the females them, and the man them, and the warrior them. I want to tell the man them, yo, let me tell you something. I want to stand up for the woman them too, you know. You understand my meaning? Some little things are going in this country what I don't like. You understand me? A man supposed to know, say, you see a woman and your mother know your father. You see your father is a stepper or is an intelligent critic. So, know your father. Some little thing are going on in this country where I don't like. The young girls them I get raped off and the boys them and all these things. These things supposed to stop. And you see when the president step in at the White House as me excuse, sorry about that. I didn't think they are America, but I never travel America yet. But big up Mr. and the president of Jamaica, Mark Golden, the junglist. Say nothing no miss. Real order. And big up Mr. Bunting over there, sir. Janice Allen.
Wave Hines.
Wave Hines.
And everyone else.
Don't tell me about Wave Hines, man. One of the best. And you see you now, Nikki. You see you now. Miss Bvrclips, I know your father. I know your father. In the industrial arts of furniture. See? And I'm saying, when you get to office,
Yes.
President Janice, and over there is the security minister. Okay? I must say, big up my warriors them who on the outskirts and the rest of people there.
Big up yourself,
I'm
Rasta
saying,
man.
I'm saying
A round
now.
of applause
I'm
for
talking now.
Rasta
Tonight.
comrade.
No, just relax. Yourself. I'm talking. I'm talking on the behalf of my party, the People's National Party. I'm gonna join this like yesterday. May I come from this from North Star. May I come from this from Joshua Michael Manley.
That's right.
And Joshua Michael Manley.
That's right.
And Joshua Michael Manley.
That's right.
And this big up,
Respect, but give people a chance.
big up
A long
that
line behind
you're
you.
going to
Long
get a
line
chance,
behind
man.
you.
You're going to get a chance.
Long line behind you.
No, I'm saying.
Give
to
us
my-
30 seconds.
Relax. To my leader and my prime minister that
some
milk. I'm saying.
Embarrassing. Yes.
I'm saying some milk. My leader gonna make. Listen now, sir.
What is this?
Embarrassing. We need some milk. Mr. Bunting. Office. We want to deal with the thing intelligently. Right, sir? Listen, just calm down, no man. We need to rush down. No, we have warriors out here, right? We have to use your.
Person to the microphone with your question.
Good evening, everyone.
Come on, the word is love. The word is love. Let us recognize our sister at the mic with her question.
Good evening, everyone.
Go ahead, go ahead.
I would like to commend my party on that. All right.
If you came on the, I have an announcement. I have an announcement. Comrades, friends, if you came on the Salt Spring bus, it is ready to leave, so please make your way to your bus. We thank Rasta for his question. Go ahead, or Empress.
All right. Yes, as I was saying, I would like to commend you, party leader, and all of the comrades.
Settle down, settle down.
For stepping out and representing all of us that were not able to be in Kingston. Because there are a lot of pressing issues and a lot of things happening in the country right now.
One moment. Could you please turn the microphone, the volume up, Mr. Engineer? Go ahead, sister.
Heard me much better? Yes, I was, first I acknowledge the panel and I'm commending the party leader for standing up and being our voice. Bringing the people out on the street, and then people are saying we not joke about this. This is rescuing. I've been saying this. Janice can attest to this. When I do my work, I always say we're rescuing Jamaica. And for you to put that there, that shows me, But my thing is this, comrade leader, what I want you to talk to the young people about tonight, and also some elderly people, because it's like some people don't remember where we're coming from and where we're trying to go. When we go out on the road, they're talking, well, yeah, forgive me. We need something, we need money, we need this, we need that. That's something I want you to address. To talk to them, let them know themselves that we're fighting for not just money, we're fighting for our country. All right? So I want you to talk about that for me, party.
Thank you, thank you. Let's take the next question and he'll answer them both together.
Fellow comrades, good night.
Good night.
Madam Queen of the South and next Prime Minister to be, greetings. I have a question to ask. Recently, I overheard the commissioner saying that those guys who police stopped on the street went to their phones and extracted information from them. It is illegal, which we already know. I'm addressing it as a luminaire, legal luminaire. Just 2 days ago, a young man from the United States came down to bury his grandmother. And the police stopped him in the Springmount Marathon area, took away his phone, took away his bank cards, which are US, and asked him how he had so much money on him, both US and Jamaican, not realizing that he's a US citizen. They took him down to his station and harassed him. Then when they realized what was happening, they apologized to him. I don't think that is right. Something has to be done about that. Another thing, there are several accounted cases in Jamaica where cases have been adjourned sine die for 30 years, 20 years onwards. I do think I make a recommendation that when you do form the next government, there should be a statute of limitations on this. What do you think about this matter? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
On the last point, just quickly, when cases have been adjourned, signed there, but have not been formally dismissed, they remain as pending, potentially pending cases. And to get that removed, you have to have a lawyer come and apply to have the case re-mentioned in court so that it can be formally dismissed. And I think that that is a waste of time, quite frankly. We ought to have a system where if a case has been adjourned for beyond a certain period of time, the case is at an end. It shouldn't have to have any further procedure in court to end the case. And that, I agree with you on that. And that can be done by legislation.
All right, next question.
Good night, comrades. Something ever happened to you where you didn't pay any attention until it happened to one of your own persons or family member? Well, downtown, you have the manholes with the covering where the children step on it and adults. Now, my cousin was walking along and stepped in one of them. We made a report with the doctor's certificate and everything, submitted it to the parish council. They said it was not their road. So I went to the NWA. The insurance refused it, said it was not their road. I went to the NWA. They sent somebody to investigate and said, no, it's a parish council road. Now we sent it back to the parish council and they said, no, if they were doing work, then it would be their responsibility. But what happened was the manhole, it opened up, and then when she stepped in there, by the next day somebody closed it back. So now they're refusing, and I get to find out that there are a lot of cases. But because we are poor, we don't have the resources to follow up these things. A lot of us are being taken advantage of where we cannot get any justice for that. Because my cousin is actually diabetic also. So her foot, it's taking some time to heal and it's preventing her from going to work. Right? So these issues are not being addressed. So I don't know who can speak on that.
What I would say is this. I heard the Justice Minister speak yesterday in the sectoral debate in the House of Representatives, and after 10 years I was very disappointed that he hadn't announced that the legal aid system will be extended to certain types of civil matters and not just criminal matters, because there ought to be a civil matter aspect to legal aid, especially in personal injury matters like the ones you referred to, but also in other cases, for example, in relation to dead left matters and so on, where people who can't afford an attorney can get legal advice and legal representation subsidized by the legal aid system. And that is something that we are committed to doing, so that we can expand legal aid to ensure that people's basic rights are protected and they have access to legal services for that. So in a situation like this one where you're getting the runaround and there's been an injury, you sue both. You know, you sue both, and the court can decide who's responsible. It's not for you to be trying to find that out. You sue both of them in the same proceedings, but you need a legal support to do that because you can't afford an attorney. And you know, so that is why it's important that the legal aid system be expanded to cover civil and constitutional rights and not just criminal matters.
And our sister is saying she wants a response to her question about what she should say to those who are asking for vote buying.
Well, the messaging that we deliver to the people must resonate with them as being relevant to the Jamaica that they see and the problems that they face, so that they see that it is in their interest to give us their vote, because we are going to build a Jamaica that is responsive to their needs and gives them hope for a better future. And if we don't do that, then it's just a hustle. And none of us are in this for the hustle. We are in this for nation building. And it's for our policies and programs and our communication of those things to persuade people that it is worth putting short-term little things like a $5,000, whatever it may be, aside and supporting something that might bring civil action for being covered by legal aid. So if you get an injury, your rights are protected. You know, that will give us beach access. That will ensure that the schools are delivering quality education and that healthcare and hospitals are properly managed and maintained so that the people have good healthcare. People need to understand and appreciate the importance of these big issues and the need to have government that is responding to those things so that they can elevate themselves from the little mentality about, well, let us eat a food today and that's sufficient, because it really is not sufficient.
Thank you. Please go ahead with the question.
All right, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Amaya, and I'm a final year social work student. My question is relating to substance use among young adults, especially teenagers. I know that there's a law. There's a law about young people not being to smoke and not being sold these substances, but we are in Jamaica, and these laws are not being enforced. As a final year, I've been exposed to working with the National Council on Drug Abuse, and when we ask these young people, where are you getting drugs? Why are you using drugs? They're like, I can get it at the shop. So my question to you, Mr. Upcoming Prime Minister, is what will your party do to ensure that our young people are not getting access to these substances, so it's not that prevalent so they can get access to it? Because these substances are affecting their growth, which is in turn affecting our nation.
Well, first of all, I think it's very important that public education be tailored, and the messaging around substance abuse and the risks of it be tailored to teenagers, adolescents, and those who are most at risk. And so that they can understand the importance of protecting their mind and the functioning of their brains so that they can have a better life in the future, and avoiding behaviors and substances that are going to negatively impact on that. Because I think people in Jamaica, and the youngsters now, there isn't sufficient messaging around these issues and these risks. And they just have a very cavalier attitude towards it. And they're eating the gummy bears and they're eating the other, the other things that are a lot of these psychedelic substances, the Molly and all of that, which is not part of our culture but is coming into the country. We need to have the National Council on Drug Abuse needs to have the necessary support financially so that they can develop the messaging around responsible behaviors amongst our young people. I think that's the most important thing that we can do to reduce the inclination of our young people to go down these pathways which are ultimately destructive of their prospects and their lives.
We'll take our final question. I'm sorry. We're going to have to follow up with you after. Quickly.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
My name is Denisha Forbes, and I'm an entrepreneur. I just have a simple question, and I want to answer. Mr. Golden, my pleasure, sir. What I want to know is, as the next Prime Minister, what are you going to do about the exorbitant traffic tickets that are being charged to us as motorists? And I can see where tickets move from $500, $800 to now $15,000 for a ticket and $10,000. I want to know, if minimum wage is $15,000 and $16,000, where should people get money to pay for a ticket for $15,000 for parking in the wrong place? And I just want to give an example of what happened to me, because best believe I'm going to the court. I would rather give someone $50,000 for free or $100,000 than pay this ticket that I got the other day. And it's a burning issue for me, and I'm here tonight, and I believe that these ticket prices that they're raping us through this system, might as well they just say tax increase, because this is just a way to scapegoat that it's a new tax. There's no way we can be paying tickets for $10,000, $15,000, and these policemen are there lying too. See, there was a traffic on the road at Westgate on our way to when you pass Vista Print there, because I live in the Meadows of Irwin community. So I recognize in the Meadows of Irwin community. So I recognize that I saw the police siren, flashing, because there was a heavy traffic coming all the way from Barnett Street going up. So I said, okay, I want to see what the accident is. So after passing Vista Print, I said, let me just peep over. So I was in the line. Remember, now, this is the traffic is called bumper to bumper. You can't even move 10 miles. So I decided this is my lane. I just slightly do this. Not even halfway, quarter. I just wanted to peep to see, just be nosy, of course, who met in an accident, because I saw a truck. So of course I saw the police there, but it was too dark, so I could not see. So I said, let me just come back in full way until. So it's about 3 to 6 cars in front of me. By the time I got there, the policeman pulled me over. Ma'am, I'm going to charge you for undertaking. I said, excuse me, sir? I am a decent, law-abiding citizen. You believe that I am mad to be driving on the opposite side, overtaking a whole line of traffic I cannot see in the dark? I just wanted to look. He said I came halfway out. I was about to undertake, but because I saw him, I didn't bother to. So he wrote me up for $15,000 because I was about to undertake, and I'm not undertaking. Why should I pay $15,000? I am sure I'm not the only person with these issues who want the ticket prices reduced.
I think she needs a lawyer. Mr. Golding, he's the lawyer amongst us.
I want the prices reduced.
That was a very expensive attempt to undertake. Anyway, I do think that the traffic tickets need to be reviewed in terms of the level of fines. I think the new Road Traffic Act has been brought into effect for a year or so now, and it's an opportune time to look back at it. It's a very long list of different offences, and to be honest, I don't think the necessary critical scrutiny had been brought to bear on those issues when it was passing through Parliament. So I do think we need to look at it and bring it more in line with what people would consider to be reasonable based on the type of conduct involved. But I would just urge you next time not to be too curious about what you see, so that you're not caught undertaking when you should be going straight.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was a people's session. Thank you for your questions and your comments. We're going to invite Rochelle Reed not to do the vote of thanks, because we're on our way out of here. Come ahead. Rochelle is the candidate for East Central St. James.
I am so glad that you have now settled down. A pleasant good evening to everyone, to Mr. Mark Golin and the panelists, Nikisha Burchell, our chairperson, ladies and gentlemen of St. James, a pleasant good evening. As we come to the close of this memorable and impactful gathering, it is my distinct honor and privilege to deliver the vote of thanks on behalf of the People's National Party and all those present here today. First and foremost, I extend heartfelt gratitude to Reverend Glenn Harris for opening today's proceedings with a meaningful prayer, setting a tone of unity, reflection, and purpose. To our chairperson, Ms. Nikisha Burchell, your leadership and eloquence have guided this program seamlessly. A warm thank you to Mr. Alan Bernard for your gracious and warm words of welcome. I feel like the persons on my right are not really listening. I'm asking you to please settle down. Persons on my right? Yes, I do that. I'm a teacher. We are also deeply appreciative of Dr. Andre Horton, whose greetings reflected innovation and entrepreneurship, key pillars of Jamaica's continued growth. To our esteemed presenters, Mr. Mark Golding, MP, President of the People's National Party, thank you for your inspiring leadership and vision. Your words